So I am in this awesome phase of parenting where my kid loves Marvel and superheroes and wants to watch all the different stories. And we try to see where we can see Stan Lee in his little guest cameo. And it is so cool. We even started listening to a few I don't know if they're podcasts, but they're like little snippets that kind of explore different superhuman powers and all this other stuff that makes him a superhero. And the first time I heard this, when you hear something and it resonates, like not just in the ears and the head, but like you hear and feel something. Like you hear words, you hear a saying, you feel it within your entire like solar plex, just you feel all over. And I don't remember if my child said this, if I asked this question, if I heard it on an interview, but I remember how I felt and went, holy crap. Because a lot of the times we love to just kind of let our minds wander. And one of the questions that my kids will ask me is, all right, Dad, like if you could have any superpower, what would it be? And so we try to come up with fun stuff. Oh, I would want to fly so we could like you could jump on my back and we'd fly around the world and like just all fun stuff. Just one of the cool things is allowing ourselves, giving ourselves permission to be kids again and like just let our minds wander and imagine. And it is so fun, stuff that necessarily maybe some of you didn't get to do as a child. It's never too late. Like I refuse to grow up. I will always be a big kid at heart. There's a difference between being a child and a big kid, but we're going to save that video for a different day. But so we go back and forth, and then I ask my kids, all right, what superpower would you be? Oh, invisible. That's awesome. Oh, I'd run around and do this, and I'd prank my friends, and it's so fun. But this was the saying where I got hit and it caught me so off guard. I remember just thinking like, gosh, that is so profound. I think maybe my daughter said it. I remember just thinking like, this is so profound for a kid. Like, what? So it went along some of the lines of a superhero without limitations is really not a superhero at all. Because we started to think about it like, what is each superhero's limitation? And what's interesting is the way everyone is created, like there is a way to defeat every single superhero. Like the easy one is Superman and Kryptonite. And so as we started going down this wormhole, it was interesting because I think I don't remember if it was the original one, but there was a time where there was no kryptonite for Superman. He was a superhero with no limitations, and it flopped. I remember hearing this kind of like, wait a minute, it's a superhero. He's got all these cool powers that I think can fly, super strong. There was no weakness, so there was really no way for him to actually have a climactic scene or a battle or keep you on the edge of your seat. Like, is Superman gonna come through? That reminds me. The other joke that I heard that correlates to this is, I guess Chuck Norris and Superman got into a fight, and they made a bet, and the bet was loser had to wear their underwear over their pants. So he beat Superman. Yeah, you get. Anyways, but just this mindset of going, wait a minute. So I don't know if you notice on these videos, I'm always looking at how can I apply to myself to make my life just a little bit better today. Like I'm on this mission to just continual expansion and just enjoy every aspect of life. Like living the recovery way is one of the coolest things. But as I started to think, I thought, okay, so a superhero without limitation is not a superhero at all. Why do I love superhero stories? I'm like, okay, when my daughter and I and our kids watch it together, like the storyline, but there's always some cool fight scenes, and then there's always inevitably a time where it looks like the superhero is going to lose every single weakness, whether they have kryptonite for Superman, whether for Iron Man they do something to the heart, or he can't get his suit on, or the Incredible Hulk, they're able to contain him and give him some tranquilizers, whatever it is. But every single superhero has these limitations. And the irony is, I remember being a kid wishing I was a superhero. It's like, man, if I was a superhero, I could save myself. I could do this. I wouldn't have to put up with all this stuff. And I mean, we all have traumatic stories from our past. And I'm not here to either escalate or diminish anyone's. But what's interesting is we tend to compare ourselves to the superhero with no limitations. What I mean by that is this, that we hold ourselves to our ideal, our perfect person. And then we get so frustrated or hurt or angry when we make mistakes, when we fail, when we start to see or understand or experience our own limitations. And then because that causes so much pain, we do the best thing that we can think of. And that's, I don't want to feel this anymore. So how do I sedate? How do I numb out? How do I no longer feel the pain? And then that perpetuates this cycle. So using this analogy, even the coolest superheroes. I mean, the absolute coolest. I got a handful of favorites. Like when my daughter asked me, which one's your favorite? I'm like, oh gosh, I don't know. Like I think Batman's cool because he's human and he's able to do so much cool stuff just out of figuring out gadgets and gizmos. So that part's kind of cool. But I kind of like the Iron Man thing. Like, I don't know. There's so many cool things. I couldn't choose just one. I don't want to be like four or five. I want some variety. But looking at this, they all have a weakness. They all have limitations. And yet, when I look at my own limitations, I tend to judge or evaluate myself. And then I think less of myself. And then that perpetuates the pain. Like I actually create the pain up here and in here. And then it feels real. So, part of this whole experience of learning how to become so much freer than our current thought process, our current limitations, and actually expanding to say, wait a minute, I want to honor and hone my limitations. What if instead of trying to deny them, I accepted them? What if I learned how to partner with them, to forgive them, to actually love them? This is the part that's just so foreign to me for the longest time. And then it all kind of came together of that question and looking at, okay, what if I'm a superhero? As weird as it sounds, you're a superhero. We have our limitations, but as we learn how to live with these limitations, they're no longer judgments. They're no longer a thing we try to hide or conceal, but we say, I'm going to learn how to live with this. And then going back to all these superhero stories, that is where you see them gain the strength, understand the limitation, and even though there's a limitation where they could possibly and actually be beat, they overcome all odds and then go back to save the day or win whatever it is that they're doing. So I don't know where you are in your superhero story. I don't want to make this cheesy, but it's so cool. Like when you look at all the different facets. But with you and your superhero story, where maybe you're at the part where it feels like the antagonist is just coming at you and is just kicking your butt because your limitations. But it's not over. Like imagine going and watching a superhero movie where the superhero gets defeated or dies or whatever it is, and then it just ends. You'd be like, no, that's not the way this goes. The superhero comes back stronger, faster, smarter. Like it comes back from the conflict and then wins. So if you're winning, hell yeah, way to go. Keep on going because guess what? The next big boss comes where our deficiency and our limitations hit, and we get a little step back, and it creates all the tension within the story that we call life, this game of life. And then we're able to go further forward from it, stronger, smarter, more experienced, more wisdom. And I'm gonna say it, and actually having fun when we can learn how to enjoy the defeats and not just be tied to the fruit or the outcome or the successes, this is how you truly learn to live life on life's terms and enjoy, regardless of whatever it tends to throw at you. So I wanted to share this today because it hit me when I heard it at such a deep level. Actually, I wrote notes on it because it's so dang awesome. But of understanding that a superhero without limitations really is not a superhero. And so the fact that you have some limitations, you can be your own superhero. It's just a matter of making sure that you continue to stay in the fight and that you get better and better and better. I'll see you next time.